Hello and welcome to the Roundtable. I'm Charlotte, and these are my correspondents, Joe, Mark, okay, Brian. All right, so let's start it off talking about the Celtics. Only one loss after losing Rajon for the season. There's an article today in the Globe Online about what they think they need to do to survive the second half. Let's talk about this. Brian, start us off.
Well, it's amazing because we thought Rondo was our best player, but it looks like we've been doing a lot better without him. Our only loss came to the Bobcats, so it seems like we're in this parallel basketball universe, you know? Rondo is definitely an all-star. He's a great player, but sometimes his attitude gets down on the team and his defense. You know what I mean, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Joe, what do you think about this?
I think that so far we've been doing well, but we should look at the trade deadline, try to find some star power to help this ailing Celtics team try to stay in the playoff hunt.
Yeah, I agree. You look at the Celtics now, and they have more ball movement, more assists per game ever since Rondo has been gone. But at some point, you know, Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett, they're old. They're not going to be able to keep up this pace forever. And so we're going to have to get some people to come in and provide some depth. So
I think that since Rondo's left, a lot of players like Jeff Green and Jason Terry have stepped their game up. I just think the bench has been contributing much more than they were. And but the loss of Leandro Barbosa is definitely going to hurt us, along with Jared Sullinger
And
Courtney Lee. But Brandon Bass, I think, really needs to step his game up right now.
It's amazing that the Celtics are doing this with all the injuries and all the rumors about KG possibly being traded, which I don't think are true at all.
Or retiring after the season.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any ideas on how we can keep them from getting injured and more time from the bench?
We can't just bubble wrap everyone.
Okay, so do we think that Pierce and Kevin Garnett have enough in the tank to keep going through the rest of the season? John?
I think that we need to keep an eye on Kevin Garnett's minutes, but I think Paul Pierce should be fine, seeing he doesn't hustle or do anything but shoot the ball. So I think he should be okay. But Kevin Garnett, we need to keep fresh, you know, keep his defensive mind intact as well as his mid-range game.
Joe or Mark, what are you thinking about this?
well, yeah, I completely agree with John. I think that the key is going to be Garnett because he's what really makes them go when they're going. And also, they only have, they have 30 games left. The problem is that only 12 are at the Garden, and so they're going to be on the road traveling a lot, which is going to lead to a lot of wear and tear. And so, you know, maybe this is really hard. Doc Rivers is one of the best in the game at limiting his stars' minutes, but maybe he has them sit out a game like Popovich did with the Spurs. We'll see.
But going back to that, I don't think the Celtics organization wants a $100,000 fine from the NBA.
Yeah, but that's unfair. It shouldn't be a fine because it's just you're playing different people on your team, and they almost beat the Heat, one of the top teams. So that fine was just stupid.
I can't not wait until David Stern retires. I think that will be good for the league.
Great day for basketball.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you guys think there's any teams we should be worried about for the Celtics? Brian or Mark?
Well, you know, it's a pretty tight. We're about 7th in our conference now, right?
Yep.
It's a pretty tight playoff race because we got a lot of teams that are borderline on the cusp. So it's more of those teams like the Milwaukee Bucks that we should be looking out for because we've lost to them a couple times and we can't have that happen.
Okay, some people are thinking that we should get more players, add more players to the Celtics. Are there any players that you think we could get to make this work, Mark?
Bring back Scal.
I'm not sure. Some big man. I don't know. It's hard to see who's on the block. You know, there are rumors about Josh Smith, except he's not going to be possible to get. They're asking for too much, and he thinks he's a max player. So, in the future, we're not going to be able to afford him. Someone that's less, that's going to demand less. I'm not sure if they have one of those out there right now.
Not Powell. Definitely not Powell.
Yeah, not Pau Gasol. But Drew Gooden of the Milwaukee Bucks, he hasn't played a lot this season, but he played last season a lot, and he was a serviceable big man, and Celtics could certainly use him.
All right. John, do you have anything to say about this?
Go ahead.
I think that now that Barbosa's gone, I think Danny Ainge needs to start looking at free agents at the point guard position, such as Allen Iverson. I mean, the Celtics really pride themselves on adjusting players' attitudes when they come into the locker room with all of their veterans, and I think he could be a contributor. Also, there's been some rumors about possibly a trade for DeJuan Blair of the San Antonio Spurs. I think he could be valuable, help our rebounding numbers, and provide some energy off the bench.
And he couldn't tear his ACL because he has none.
Exactly.
I think that trading or free agency is going to be tough for the Celtics because they don't have a lot of value that other teams seek at the moment, looking at the trade deadline. So I don't really see any big moves coming in the near future.
Okay, so let's talk about baseball. Brian, do you have anything to say about the pitchers and catchers in training camp?
Well, the full squad reported 2 days ago, and Buchholz is already injured, which is bad for the Sox, but I feel like we could go on a pretty good run this season because we got a couple of good new starters like Johnny Gomes and Shane Victoriano.
All right, Joe, do you have anything to say about this?
I think that the loss of Buchholz really hurts the team, but hopefully he'll be ready for the regular season because he's a main component to the starting pitching rotation, and it would be truly a shame to lose him.
Okay, so about Lakey, do you think that
John Lackey.
Mark, do you think that he can turn it around?
I think he certainly has the ability and skill set, but I think at this point it's in his head, and I think it would be really tough for him to turn it around at this point.
I don't know why we've put up with him thus far. I mean, he didn't do anything last season. Literally, he didn't do anything. I forgot he was on the team. That's how bad it was. I don't see anything going well for Lackey this season, and he's a waste of a position.
John, do you think that he deserves a second chance from the Red Sox Nation?
Absolutely not. We need to trade him or release him immediately, get him off the team, and into another city.
Yeah, definitely. That $82.5 million contract really isn't paying off for the Sox. I think they should definitely look to get the get him out of here, because he really just isn't really. Yeah, you just gotta get out.
Okay, so the sellout streak is going to end soon, possibly in April. Mark, how do you feel about the Red Sox? Are you still excited about opening day?
I'm definitely excited. People say that this could be a rebuilding year. It's not. They've retooled, and they're looking to win a lot of games and, compete for the World Series title.
All
right, Brian, are you excited about?
Boston has some of the best fans in America, and Fenway's a small park. I think we're gonna keep selling out. Sorry, a great team to support. Everybody loves the Sox. Go Sox.
Okay, so John, do you think we should sign Jacoby after this year? Is he worth the money?
Good question.
He is.
He is. I think that he's a good player, and he contributes to the Sox.
Yeah, the front office admits to wanting him to stay, even if that means paying a little extra to keep a player who's been in the organization, came up from AA and AAA, came up to the bigs. They're really looking for a long-term contract here.
I mean, he's one of the faces of the franchise, and he has a lot to bring to the team. He was one of the probably top 20 players before he got injured last year, and I think he can repeat with that.
Yeah, he's still young. He's got plenty left in the tank, and he really could have a great career here with the Sox.
All right, so let's start talking about the Bruins. They've had the best start in franchise history, only one regular time loss. Mark, how do you feel about this?
Well, they're a fantastic team. They just seem like they got the chemistry going for them right now, and Tuukka Rask has really been stepping it up. I mean, his goaltending has been incredible. It's just a beauty to watch. And so, with that said, I think they have a tough road trip coming up, and we'll see what they do on that. Hopefully, they can make some noise and continue to do some damage.
Brian, do you have anything to add to this?
Well, I know there was a lot of speculation as to whether he would be able to replace Tim Thomas with all the stuff going on with the lockout, a lot of weird stuff happening in the NHL, but he's done a great job with that, and I think that we should sign him to a long-term contract because I don't think Timmy's coming back, and he's been playing great. I mean,
He's on the Islanders now.
yeah, I know. That's why he's not coming back, Joe.
I actually disagree. I'm going to wait to sign Rask to a long-term deal. I'm going to see how he fares in the postseason because that was the whole thing with Thomas. He did so well in the postseason. So I want to see, if he continues to do well in the regular season, maybe he's a good trade chip. If he does well in the postseason, then that's when we sign him to a long-term deal.
The Bruins have the best penalty-killing team in the league, and I think their defense needs to continue at this rate.
Yeah, people are saying that the Bruins look the best they've ever had, look like in the shape of their championship year. So I think that all starts with the goaltending and the defending. So I think we should look at Tuukka Rask as an important part of the organization and hopefully sign him to a deal.
John, do you think the Bruins can continue their winning ways, or do you think they might start slowing down heading into March, where they'll be playing 3 to 4 games a week?
I think they'll be able to keep it up. I sure hope so. They're an exciting team to watch, and I think they should keep it up. They should be able to.
All right, Mark, do you have anything to add? What are your feelings?
I don't have anything to add.
Okay.
I think that the 3 to 4 games a week is definitely going to put wear and tear on the team. It's going to make them tired and maybe have a couple of fluke losses to bad teams, but I don't think it's going to affect them as much as dropping them from the best team in the East to anything lower than like second or third.
All right. So, Brian, do you want to start us off talking about the Patriots?
Yep. I think we have a lot of good stuff to look forward to this year with the Pats. I think that they're definitely a Super Bowl team. There's also a lot of questions about whether Welker's going to be coming back or not and a bunch of stuff like that. But I think that we can make it to the Super Bowl, and not sure if Brady's going to retire after we win or what, but I have high hopes for the next season.
Yeah, to add on to that, Brian, I'm as interested as I am in this season. This offseason is going to be crazy because they have almost $19 million free in cap space, and they also have 3 of their stars, Tom Brady, Vince Wilfork, and Logan Mankins, are gobbling up 35% of our cap space.
Wilfork gobbles up a lot.
Yeah, which is crazy. I mean, that's huge numbers, especially for a team like the Patriots, which are known for letting people like Richard Seymour and Asante Samuel walk when they want the big money. And so at this point, I'd see some people are probably going to have to rework their deals, and then after that, it's going to be interesting to see who they go out and try to get.
Like Mark said, they've been known for letting players who demand the big bucks walk, and I think it's time to do that with Welker as well. He's just not a good postseason player, and I think that it's time to part ways with Wes Welker.
I love Welker, but I think that depends on how much he's asking for. I understand he's probably going to go for the big money, but we could get another scrappy, hard-nosed guy like Danny Amendola for a much cheaper price. That's just my nickel.
Yeah, Welker is definitely going to be a question mark going into this offseason because we did decide to not give him top dollar at the end of last year, coming into this year, but this year he might be demanding top dollar once again, which could definitely hurt the Patriots and have to let certain people go. So I think we should part ways and go after another wide receiver like Danny Amendola.
I think we have some good depth at wide receiver. I don't know what the situation with Brandon Lloyd is. Is he coming back?
Well, here's the speculation on that, Brian. It's being reported that the Patriots might actually even cut him, which would be crazy because he's left on his contract. He's got 2 years for about $3.5 million each, and so since they are so cap straddled, they might go for the route of cutting him and taking that hit on the cap space instead, so that they could go out and try to get a big name wide receiver. You know, everyone wants a downfield threat like Randy Moss, and Brandon Lloyd just wasn't that.
I agree that we need that, and I know we don't have that much depth at the typical receiver position, but if you look at Shane Vereen and Stephen Ridley, they both go out for patterns. Vereen was huge in the postseason, and Aaron Hernandez is the most versatile player in the game. He can run, he can catch, everything. So we got a lot of options.
Yeah, we definitely have receiving threats. And a guy that I would like to look at, as well as Amendola, I think we should definitely sign him, let Welker walk, and then I'd be willing to trade a 4th-round pick, maybe a 3rd-round pick, but definitely a 4th-rounder for Percy Harvin of the Minnesota Vikings, who's been linked to a bunch of trade rumors recently.
I don't know if we're going to get him for a 3rd-round pick, though.
No, that's what they're asking for because he's going to be a free agent at the end of next season, and he's been just a head case in the locker room. The Patriots can fix that. We all know that. That's the beauty of this team. And he also has a bunch of Miami players that used to be on the Miami team that he's going to be meeting up with, like Aaron Hernandez and Vince Wilfork. And so maybe that can try to make him be less of a head case. And if that is the case, he had the most broken tackles in the NFL this year.
He only dropped one pass.
Only one pass. He dropped 1.5% of his passes compared to Wes Welker's almost 12%, which is unbearable, especially in the postseason.
Probably higher in the postseason.
Yes, definitely.
Speaking of players from the Dolphins, another free agent coming up is Reggie Bush. I think he could add some more versatility to our offense and come in and pick up some yards.
Although Reggie Bush is a premier running back, I think that the Patriots are pretty set for the running back spot. Vereen, Ridley.
Yeah, I like our backs. They're young.
Our backs,
strong.
they're young. They had great seasons this year, and it only looks better in the future for them. So I don't think we need the veteran of Reggie Bush.
Yeah, I just hope they re-sign Woodhead because he's another scrappy guy like Welker, and when nothing was working during the season in some of those games that they should win and they weren't doing so well, he was always the guy to step up. So I think it's pivotal that they re-sign him this offseason.
Is Julian Edelman coming back?
I certainly hope so. He's a classic Patriot, you know, the Bill Belichick player. So.
Okay, so we're going to move on to college sports. There's Beanpot win for BC again. Joe, what are your thoughts on this?
The Eagles are really creating a dynasty here in the Beanpot. They're just beating up on teams, beating their rivals like BU, winning the Beanpot against Northeastern. It just seems unfair for the other teams how good BC is creating teams and using their players to win these big tournaments.
John, what are your views on college basketball college sports at this point?
I was disappointed when Nerlens Noel went down with an ACL tear. He was one of my favorite players, you know, a local guy from Massachusetts, and I think Kentucky's really going to miss him.
Does anyone else have anything to add?
Well, for March Madness this year, I think it's going to be amazing because there have been so many fights for the number 1 spot, and not just that, but like top 5, top 10. And you know, there's going to be a Cinderella story. Everything's leading up to a great year of college basketball come March.
Yeah. This year, there's no real team that everyone agrees on is the best. Everyone can be beat. So come March Madness, you can expect some big upsets from big teams, like 1 or 2 seeds. everywhere you look. But it truly is going to be a great March.
And I can't wait to see what Ben McLemore does during the month of March. And also, my sleeper pick would definitely be Minnesota. I'm looking for them to do a lot of damage with Trevor Mbakwe and Andre Hollins.
Well, we're going to have live coverage of March Madness coming soon.
Right here on the Raider Report. So we're going to go to our local teams. Oh, Roundtable, yes. Okay, so we're going to start talking about the Raiders, our school's team. The boys need one more win on the road for tourney. Joe, what are you feeling about this?
It's a big game. Hopefully the Raiders can pull one out against Millis. I mean, they beat them earlier in the season, so hopefully they can go get another win, get into the tournament.
All right, Brian, what are your feelings about hockey needing to win the last 2 games?
Well, I know the basketball team was in that situation. We had to win our last 2. We won the first one, but who knows about tonight? I think hockey can pull it out. They got some fight left in them. Got some fight.
All right, so Mark, do you have anything to say?
No.
Okay, so I guess we're gonna wrap up the round table. Go out and support your local teams. We will be off next week, but thank you for watching the round table.
Hey.